All right, let's get right into it. What if you could see the entire future of an industry just by looking at a single day? Well, that's what we're going to do. We are going to zoom in on just 24 hours, October 20th, 2025, to really understand where the whole world of AI is actually headed. So, you might be asking, what can one day really tell us? Well, a lot, it turns out. Because on this particular day, the hype, the noise, it all started to fade. And the reality of the situation came crashing into view. We saw where the big money was really moving, how AI was being used in the real world, and how we're all trying to write the rules for it, all at the same time. So here's how we're going to break it down. We'll start by following the money in what we're calling the new gold rush. Then we'll see how AI is, literally checking into the hospital. After that, we'll look at how governments are trying to get a handle on all this. Then we'll peek at the cutting edge where the next big breakthroughs are happening. And finally, we'll zoom out and connect all the dots. Okay, first up, the new gold rush. You can forget all the talk and the mission statements. If you really want to know what an industry values, you just have to follow the money. And on this one day, boy, the money told a really fascinating story. Now, take a look at this. What's so interesting here is what companies aren't buying. Nobody's snapping up flashy new algorithms. No, Hitachi is buying a services company to help them actually use AI in heavy industry. KPMG, they bought a synthetic data company to solve the fundamental problem of not having enough clean data. And Lemless bought Clap just to make their sales workflow seamless. So you see the pattern here, right? Companies are buying the plumbing, the essential, unglamorous, nuts and bolts stuff that you need to make AI actually work in the real world. And this slide just lays it out perfectly. The market is splitting into two clear strategies. On one side, you've got the big established corporations. They're buying the picks and shovels, the data infrastructure, the expertise, the boring but necessary stuff. And on the other side, you've got the venture capitalists, and they are betting big on finding the gold itself, those huge foundational models that they hope will change everything. And speaking of betting big, get a load of this number, $2 billion. That is the size of a single Series B funding round that a company called Inflection AI pulled in on this day. I mean, that is just a staggering amount of cash for one investment. Which, of course, led to this number, an $8 billion valuation for the company. Now that's a 15 times jump in value in just 7 months. So the question is, why? What's going on? Well, it's because Inflection AI is building a powerful open source model. It's an alternative to the closed systems from the big guys. This isn't just a tech story. This is a geopolitical power play to create a new open standard that's led by the US. All right, so that's the money, but where is all this technology actually showing up? Well, that brings us to section 2. AI enters the hospital. And this is where AI stops being some cool, futuristic experiment and starts getting woven into the actual fabric of how patients get cared for. Now, what's really amazing is that healthcare is moving forward on two fronts at the exact same time, which is a huge sign of maturity. First, you've got these smarter tools getting rolled out to solve real logistical nightmares. And second, at the very same time, you have smarter rules being written by actual doctors to make sure those tools get used safely and effectively. And look, we're not talking about moonshot AI that can diagnose a super rare disease. This is way more practical. GE Healthcare's new software is all about hospital logistics, managing patient flow, figuring out bed demands, scheduling staff. It helped one hospital system save an estimated $20 million in 1 year. And BD is doing something similar with managing medication. This is AI aimed squarely at efficiency, at cutting costs, and at reducing burnout for healthcare workers. And I love this quote from the American Medical Association. It just perfectly captures this huge mental shift that's happening. See, it's not enough anymore for a doctor to just double-check what an AI says. That's human in the loop. The new goal is clinician in command. It means doctors are in the driver's seat, actively shaping how these tools are built and used from the very beginning. And the idea of putting the experts in command, well, that brings us perfectly to our third section, governing the revolution. Because as AI gets more powerful, the rules of the road are changing. We're moving away from these abstract ideas and toward really practical, targeted policies. What's so striking here is that nobody's trying to write one single rulebook for everything. It's the opposite. Governance is becoming super specialized. So in the US, you have a new act to help small businesses get on board. On the global stage, a workshop in Shanghai is focused on getting these tools to developing nations. And then down at the local level, police are being told to demand way more transparency when they buy these black box AI systems. The big takeaway? It's all about practical, targeted rules for specific situations. So while all the companies and governments are busy trying to manage the AI we have today, in labs all over the world, researchers are already building what's coming next. And that brings us to our fourth section, science's new partner. This is the bleeding edge. This is where the future is literally being invented. A major paper published on this day laid out a truly wild concept called Agentic Science. Now, this isn't just a smarter calculator. Think about this for a second. We're talking about an AI that acts as an autonomous research partner, an AI that can come up with its own ideas, design its own experiments to test them, and then analyze the results. It's a profound shift. And here's the kicker. This isn't science fiction. This is the exact theory behind the technology that Hitachi is spending a fortune to acquire right now. And if you want to feel for the incredible, just relentless pace of all this, look at this number. 219. That's how many new AI research papers were uploaded to the main science server, Archive, in a single day. It's a fire hose of new ideas. And this flood of research, it's the raw fuel for the entire industry. It's where the next reflection AI, the next huge breakthrough, is going to come from. Okay, let's pull it all together. Time for our final section, the big picture. We've seen the deals, the policies, the research, all from this one single day. And when you step back and look at it, three huge trends pop out that are going to define the next chapter of AI. First, the picks and shovels. The boring data infrastructure is becoming way more valuable than the shiny AI models themselves. Second, governance is getting specific. The best rules are being written by the experts in each field. Doctors for medicine, for instance, not by some general one-size-fits-all committee. And third, the whole AI economy is splitting in two. You're going to have a handful of giant companies that build the massive foundational models, and then a huge, sprawling ecosystem of smaller players who apply those models to thousands of different problems. So we end with this question. The real story of October 20th, 2025 is that AI has finally graduated. It's done with the lab experiments, and it's gotten a real job out in the economy. It's not a question of if it's going to transform entire industries anymore. The only question is, which one is next? Is it yours?